Bacolod, welcome to another edition of Jobs on TV. I'm your host, Atty. Jocelle Batapa Sigue. And I'm so glad that we have a very special edition today because we have four guests in our studio today. As you might have noticed, there is a Bacolod for the last several weeks. We have been hearing about a tour guiding course. Now, the question that we now pose is that, is there a career in tour guiding? Why is there a need to professionalize our tour guiding sector? We also would like to know what are the available jobs in tourism. And here on our show, Jobs on TV, we'd like to bring you to you information about jobs, trends in economics, businesses, opportunities, and all there is to know if you are an entrepreneur, if you want to land a job, apply for a position, or probably just know the business scenario inside and outside of Bacolod City. So please be with us for the next hour of our show on Jobs on TV. As we start our discussion for today, I would like to introduce our guest nga ari gid subong, no. They spent their time, they willingly accepted our invitation. Thank you, by the way, to Miss Ruth Cruz of NITI, or the Negros Islands Tourism, no, Incorporated, or NITI. I know that she's now out of the country, but rest assured that here on Jobs on TV, we will find an opportunity to interview her about, of course, the core programs of NITI, probably sometime in August. But for today, ang iyaanay nga mga disciples, no? Ang iyaanay nga mga students, no? For what has been the Negros Island Tour Guiding course. Amo na siyang aton topiko subong. Many of you might be interested to also join the third batch. I understand that the second batch is now on their way to completing their course. But we now have the pioneer batch of this Negros Island Tour Guiding course. And we're happy to have on the show first, we have Mr. Bambi Borromeo, a retired advertising executive. Hello. And we also have, of course, kilala ta na ni siya. She's also been partner not only of NITI but also of the Bacolod Negros Federation for IT or Benefit, where I am the chair. She is into events organizing, training, and seminars organizing. We have Miss Maricar Dabao. Hello. And then, of course, we have a lifestyle writer, no? And kung sa diin lang ang mga events makita ko man ni siya, we have Miss Betsy Gazo. Hi, Betsy. And of course, this is the first time I came to know her, but I'm so interested about the field that she's moving into, because ang iyaya is adventure tourism, no? And she'll tell us more about it probably in the next episodes, because ang aton subong focus is more on tour guiding and jobs in tourism. So probably later on, she'll also, during the personal touch portion, she'll share with us some of the things she do, no, as a somebody who is organizing adventure tours, no. So we have Miss Imelda Tensay. Hello. Okay, so first question, nahambal ko nakagina sa aton nga mga cable viewers na there's an ongoing Negros Island Tour Guiding course, no? Ano ini siya? What is this course all about? Just a general overview just to get the discussion rolling. Sir Bambi.
Well, I'm the first graduate, but actually, I think the better person who can answer that is Maricar, since she's handling all the sundry details regarding the publicity, the enrollment, and the ongoing seminar course.
But you are one of the pioneer batch.
Part of the first batch of graduate, as one of, I think, 30 who enrolled in the first course. And I was lucky enough to also pass the accreditation, the exam. And I am also now doing tour guiding for both hotels, for travel agencies, and private parties.
Okay, I guess our cable viewers are now excited. Gid mention niya accreditation. What is this accreditation all about? When you take the course, you'll be accredited. Also, isn't it interesting to know more about this? No, so the question would now be thrown to Miss Maricar. Ano ini siya nga course? This Negros Island Tour Guiding course.
Well, I'm very thankful to Miss Ruth Cruz, who is the president of NITI, who invited me to the first batch of this course to undergo this. And later on, she had confidence in me, and I am now conducting the second batch of the tour guiding course, wherein we have 14 participants from all walks of life, from 23 to maybe 65 years old. So it's
Okay.
really a varied group. It
Mm-hmm.
comes from a cross-section, from retirees to teachers to students to adventure enthusiasts, or anyone who wants to promote Bacolod and Negros. The tour guiding course came up because NITI saw the need to professionalize the tour guiding in Negros.
Okay.
And the four of us, we are the graduates of the first course. And now, well, we are on our own, and what is important is to professionalize the tour guides. Well, the tour guides are also the ambassadors of Bacolod and Negros, and also to put a face to our place, to have qualified tour guides who know what to project, what to tell our visitors. And this course encompasses, well, lots of fields, from communication skills to elocution to history of Negros, which is very important, and also the other destinations here in Bacolod and Negros.
Okay, so you said you're on your own, but you're not alone anymore, because I think from the batch, how many made it to the accreditation exams?
Well, this is not to discourage the participants, but the practical exam is really very taxing, because the purpose here is to get qualified tour guides. So that means you have to pass the practical exam. And this is conducted by one of the directors of the OT.
Okay.
Bureau of Standards.
Director of the Bureau of Standards of the OT. And out of the 28 who took the practical exams, can I say how many
Yes, of
passed?
course. Oo.
Where there were 11 of us who made it.
Para sa ako niya, I always see life as half full, no? Not half empty. Sakto na, nga analogy. Ang point ko da is, we now have, and we are now happy to have 11
11.
accredited
Duly accredited.
tour guides in Negros Occidental. And I hope that all 11 are available when we see an upsurge of tourists in the city of Bacolod. I'd like to ask Miss Betsy, gin-mention ni Miss Maricar ang general na objective sa tour guiding course. For you, what were the other things that you learned from the course?
First of all, I have been guiding already even before this NITI tour guiding seminar. I attended a 2-day tour guiding seminar sponsored by the City Tourism Office.
Okay.
And I joined that one. But still, I have noticed that a lot of people do not take tour guiding very seriously.
Okay.
As Bambi said, we are supposedly the ambassadors to Negros or Bacolod, no? We are the faces of tourism also. I've learned a lot during this course. It means that NITI is taking our jobs very seriously. And there is really a niche for tour guiding or for tour guides as jobs. And that it is also very important. We are an important link to the tourism industry as a whole.
Okay. You mentioned kay Gina 2 weeks no, in Yesang City.
It's 2 days.
2 days, no? I think I did not ask this earlier. How long iniyang inyong Negros Island tour guiding course?
Oh, quite long. It took us 10 Saturdays to complete the course,
Okay.
and this is very intensive.
10 weeks? Or
Then it was,
almost 2
it
months?
it was scheduled every Saturday to allow people who were working
Okay.
to take up the course. So it was held 10 consecutive Saturdays from 9 to about 5 or 6, depending on some of the modules where we had to go out of Bacolod to visit some of the historical and important sites.
So, ano gid yan ng hands-on
It was, yes,
learning.
yes, yes.
Hands-on and very intensive.
Okay. Is it correct to say that I have the pleasure now of having the 4 out of the 11 accredited tour guides?
The survivors.
The survivors, no? Sige, this
Survivors.
question is for Ms. Imelda, no? Si Ms. Betsy mentioned that, and I think Sir Bambi here mentioned that the participants came from all walks of life, no? Can you tell us more about ang profile sa mga participants during the course?
The profile of the participants, it was very varied.
Okay.
We had different age. I think the youngest one was 21 years old.
Mhm.
She
Fresh out
was a
of college.
student.
Okay.
And then we also have, of course, older ladies and gentlemen.
Mhm.
Senior citizens.
Senior citizens.
Mhm.
And from all walks of life. We
How
had
about the background?
We had teachers. We had people from the hotel industry. We had students. People from the academe.
Mhm.
And even just regular people who were just really curious about
Mhm.
what it was all about.
Okay. So essentially, ang background doesn't need to be you are a BS tourism graduate or
Definitely
in
not.
your case you are what's
Um,
your field?
Actually, I'm a tourism graduate.
Okay.
I'm really from Iloilo,
Mhm.
and I've settled down here in Bacolod.
Mhm.
And I wanted to get to know Bacolod a little bit more since I'm really not from here.
Mhm.
And so for me, what I think was really interesting about this course was, for me, I consider it as Negros 101
Okay.
because I found out a lot of interesting facets about Negros,
Mhm.
like dances,
Mhm.
which was introduced to us by Rene, Mr. Rene Enojales.
Mhm.
There was a talk on the wildlife of
Mhm.
Negros by Mr. Jerry Ledesma of Tanugan Island.
Mhm.
There were
Songs and music by Monsignor
Monsignor Gaston.
Chichi
Mhm.
Gaston. And on my own, I don't think I would have gotten that kind of education if I just researched it in the internet
Mhm.
or if I just went to the library.
Mhm.
But so this was a comprehensive class,
Mhm.
which was very interesting because we
Mhm.
also got to go to historical houses,
Mhm.
museums, different things. It was always different every Saturday, and I was always looking forward to coming in every Saturday.
Okay. So for those who just tuned in, we are talking actually about the Negros Island Tour Guiding course, which happened last year or this
Last
year?
year.
Last
Last
year.
year,
No? So
yes.
off cam kagina, I was asking them about the different core components or various components of the course, no? And I think si Sir Bambi has some things to say about the whole package. What are the other things?
I think what I found interesting, because actually when I signed up for the program, I said I was just probably going to attend the first 2 sessions, and surprisingly I ended up finishing the entire course, all 10 sessions. What I found interesting is, I think it was like, as Imelda was saying, it's like learning and getting to know Negros again. And it was a mini immersion course. I found it interesting that I learned certain insights about places outside of Bacolod. There was a lecture, I believe it was by Alan del Carmen, and he had a talk on etymology or the meaning of place names, like how did Binalbagan get its name? And we were making a joke. I said, what? Binalbagan, Balabag? We found out that there is really a story about Binalbagan, that there was a snake nga nagbalabag, meaning a snake that the people in the area were so scared because it's so big, and they would say they wanted to avoid that place where a snake nagbalabag sa dalan, and over time it became Binalbagan. And the same thing we found out about Himamaylan. So if you take there are 13 cities and I believe 19 towns and municipalities in Negros, not just Bacolod. I rediscovered so many things about places that I was born in Isabela, but I spent a lot of time in Binalbagan. I come from the south. My parents come from the south. So I learned certain things not only about the south but also about the north, like Manapla. We were told that it was really named after a Manang Pula, a lady.
Okay.
We were told about the legend of Victorias. where it was named after the Virgin of Victorias, and so many other places. That's
Okay.
only one aspect.
Okay.
Also, we also learned about the food. We went on different tours. We visited some of the places like Silay, where we sampled the local delicacies. And so it was, I felt not just a course, but it was really also like a travelogue.
Okay.
And one of the things that I found when they asked me to sum up how I felt about the course, so I quoted a line from my favorite poem, T.S. Eliot, which said, the end of all our exploration is to come back where we started
Okay.
and know that place for the first time.
Wow, that's a good
And I
line.
found it really, it hit me, and I realized what that line meant all about, what it was all about.
Because of your experience
Yes,
in the
yes,
course,
yes.
you know. Sounds to me as if kamu nga apat, you went on a tour yourselves, no? And well, aside from really knowing the specific places, no, I'd like to go straight to the core of this first portion of our program. No? You were not only there as tourists, you were there as future tour guides. Why is it important for you to know these things? Not only as an Ilonggo, as a Negrense. Ako while you are now sharing, I feel that it's our responsibility, not only as tour guides, but as Ilonggos, to know these things. No, otherwise, tiway kita sa habalon sa mga bisita nato, no? But ang point ko da is, why is there a need for you to know these things as tour guides, and what are the general principles or knowledge that you learned, no? Aside from the specifics, that subong gali na realize nyo kung tour guide ka, dapat may amo ka nga skill. No? So, would like to answer first. Let's see.
I was challenged by somebody I knew who said, I have visitors coming. Where do I take them? I said, oh, there are many places here to see. Yeah, but there's nothing to see here but sugarcane. And I really got mad because it means that a lot of us, we are privileged to know our province now, but many people in Negros really do not know what Negros is all about and what it has to offer. So I'd like to say it's such a shame not to know about your province.
So, ang imo, you're saying that you have to have that mindset that you have to look beyond. No? Look beyond the usual things like sugar cane. No? Maricar, you want to answer? Why is there a need for tour guides?
I saw the potential of tourism in Bacolod and Negros, and well, maybe it just happened like a flip in my mind that, oh, I want to promote Bacolod and Negros. What will I do? And Betsy introduced me last year in May to attend it was a museum tour, International Day of Museum. It was an event of the museum wherein I was fortunate enough to go with that group
At
of
the Negros
curators.
Museum?
No, they went to north and south of Negros.
Okay.
So there were curators from Western Visayas. Actually, they also came from Panay, from Cebu, and we visited museums as far as Escalante in the north and La Carlota in the south.
Okay.
So that also exposed me into something that I have never been into. I'm one of the unlucky ones. Maybe I'm now fortunate that I have been to the museum very lately. I did not do this earlier on. And I hope that our students, maybe families, could even bring their children to visit the Negros Museum, because we really will learn a lot about Negros and to be proud of what we have. And well, promoting Bacolod and Negros, and maybe globally, because as we travel to other places, we see how they fare, the other provinces, but where is Bacolod and Negros in the Philippine global, or in the global tourism map?
Okay. You know, taking the cue from you, Miss Maricar, no? That's why I'm now calling on all newly elected local government officials. You have to try to look at the state of your museums. sa inyo nga mga LGUs, no, especially the Negros Museum. I think it's about time you help them out. You know, the museum itself is a physical structure. It needs maintenance, so they also need funds. So, but you know, beyond the physical structure is the history, the heritage, no, the cultural values of a community. So it's important that we also preserve the museum. No? I'd like to repeat the question kay Ina for the benefit of Imelda and Sir Bambi. Example, if you are not a student from Negros, if you are a student from Cebu, from Manila, from wherever, no, aside from the specifics, ano ang nakita nyo nga na-learn ninyo nga, I mean, basic qualities of a tour guide nga dapat ara gid ya, and that is the quality that you need to hone, no, as you go along in the tour guiding path.
Okay, I think number one, of course, you have to be very personable.
Okay.
You have to have some kind of personalities to entertain your guests so that they won't be bored when you're taking them around.
Okay.
Also, they have to be very professional in the sense that, especially time management. When you say to be there at a certain time and your guests are there, you can't be making them wait for you. And also when it comes to money and finances, you know that you deliver what it is that you had promised or what is expected. Also, a good tour guide must be able to be, what's the word? Nga when like a new situation arises, but then you can adapt.
Flexible.
You can be flexible, and because sometimes you have already, let's say, a day planned. But then your bisita wants to do something else, or meron sila may nakita nga, ay pwede ta di pa picture, pwede ta di kabakal sang singkamas, pwede ta di ka man hindi ka man pwede nga, you know, straight and narrow ka lang na no. You have to also cater to their needs, and you have to be able to go to different routes depending on your guests. And just one thing that you mentioned earlier also, why your question was nga it's important to have professional tour guides, or why to have tour guides. And I think when a tourist or when a guest comes to a city, and when let's say they don't get a tour guide, they're just gonna go to a restaurant, or they're going to go to a church, then those are just all physical structures. But when you get a tour guide who is a good guide, then that structure comes to life. And basically, that person will be the person who will spend the most time with the guest.
Okay.
They will have the most interaction, other than the waiters and the taxi drivers. So the experience of the guest will depend on the tour guide.
Okay. So, you know, hearing from Miss Imelda, for those of you who are already thinking of what other careers you want to go into, so take note, you have to be personable, professional, flexible. No? Ining tatlo qualifications or qualities, and then at the same time, you know, I'm inspired to listen to Betsy and Maricar, because ang commonality nila is the fourth thing that you have to have as a tour guide is really a love for the place. Kay amo nang nabatyagan ko sa ilang adway. They're into this thing because gusto nila buligan ang Bacolod. Gusto nila buligan ang Negros, no? So, for my last question for this segment, because when we go to our second question, we'll get more personal, the things that they do, no? As not only a tour guide, but somebody who helps Negros. And then, on sa third nato niya nga episode, segment, we'll talk about jobs in tourism on a more general scale, no? So, but before we go into the break, I'd like to ask, ining tanan nga qualities, no, ining tanan nga goal out of the course that you wanted to have and you wanted to accomplish, no, were you able to accomplish it with the roster of teachers you might want to mention, and the modules that were integrated into the course? Bambi.
Oh, definitely. I think I, for one, since I've been handling tours now, especially foreign guests, the things, not only the techniques, because I think there is another level of learning that I got from the DT tour guide, and beyond the information, one thing I learned is that you have to go beyond the obvious information, because a tourist who comes to Bacolod has already sometimes information, tourist material.
Okay.
He gets the demographics, the size, who, what, where, when, even a history. So what he wants, I think, to know is what is it in Bacolod or Negros beyond the facts, beyond the stated facts in a brochure. So I enjoy pointing out little known details that is not mentioned in the history books, which I also discovered in the course of my tour guiding seminar. Like there's a little street at the back, a little place like the provincial jail, and it had a very personal meaning for me because, well, I spent some time there, not as a prisoner, but because my father was the captain in the army and he used to be the warden. And it took the tour guiding seminar to point out the historical significance of that place, where a lot of people going in and out of their trips to Bacolod, ginalabayan lang, they pass by. What I found out was it is a place called Fort San Juan.
Yes.
And that during the revolution, the Spanish Revolution, the 30 or 32 friars who were rounded up in the entire province of Negros were placed there, were held there. And so it had a new meaning. And the one who constructed the provincial jail was also the same priest who built the cathedral, Mauricio Ferrero, Father Ferrero.
Right.
And so I never knew about this. So whenever I have guests, I love to point it out to them. And I think this is one thing I learned. Structure could be ugly. It could be nondescript. It could be so ordinary looking. It is when you give it a little story, the little story behind this, that the place acquires an attraction.
Okay.
So it's now every time I have a foreign guide, a foreign group, when we go on the way to the museum, I would point to the left and say, that is Fort San Juan. It used to be a Spanish, it's still the provincial jail,
Right.
which I think they're moving out. But I
Yes.
said, it was constructed by the same priest who built. So even with the state of that structure now, there is still some, and you know how Europeans sometimes are, they like interesting historical
Stories,
places.
right.
So that's one of the things that I have learned, and I'm trying to put together really a base of information about the little known facts, the little known details that will be of human interest.
Okay, so thank you. No, very interesting. It about history. It's going to be a long story for all of us about history. No, I'm hoping that ang start ko wala in 2004, the Bacolod History Quiz that's been going on for the last 6 years for our high school students will continue. In fact, the Bacolod City Girl Scout Council promised to continue the quiz, and probably I can tap the help of you guys. So okay, we'll pause for a short break. When we come back, we'll talk more about tour guiding and jobs in tourism. Stay tuned. Jobs on TV. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and I really love the shirt. I love
you.
Bacolod. I hope that all of us feels that way, especially mga Bacolod no. And I also want that feeling to be felt by even those who are just visitors. Okay, I can always say I love Bohol. I love Well, I love Cebu, pero subong to ka gutok na gid man dito, no. I love Iligan. I've been to the Maria Cristina Falls. It's beautiful, no. So I hope that every tourist will feel that way when they visit Bacolod, when they visit Negros Occidental. All four of our guests are accredited tour guides, no, under the Negros Island Tour Guiding course, which transpired last year. But on their own, as Maricar puts it, they have their own businesses. No? I would like to know more, what is the psyche of a person who goes into tour guiding? No? Ano yung other life niya, main profession? No? Maybe we'll start with Imelda, whose background is very interesting. I think bisan ano pa himuon ko, hindi ko pwede maging stewardess, no? Okay, may qualifications, especially ang waistline, Maricar. But in the case of Imelda, she's a stewardess for 15 years, no? And how did you segue from being stewardess to tour guide?
Okay, first of all, I was working in Manila actually I was really based in Manila most of my life. I'm really from Iloilo. And then I was flying for an international airline for 14, 15 years. So most of the time, my schedule was crazy. I was always out of the country. I wouldn't be here for my birthday or Christmas. It was always very difficult for scheduling. And also, I'm also a scuba diver.
Okay.
For quite since I was in college, just a few years ago. Sometime. So actually, most of my life was up in the air or underwater, and I really wanted that. I had to have 2 feet on the ground naman for a change.
You want to be on land.
Yes. So I decided to move to Negros, where my mom and my brother were, and then when I came here, I was looking for something to do, and with my background also, which is really, I just really enjoy traveling. Ever since I was a little girl, amo nang ginaya opisyo ko. I guess damo ko, what you call, moles sa feet, kay you can't make me stay still in one place for a long time. So when I got to Negros, I felt that there was so much promise or a lot of things to do, but I felt nga kung waay ka amigo or waay ka di relative, and you just came here by yourself, I thought it was a little bit difficult to get around because though jutay lang ang organized trips and all of that. So I decided to put up my company, which is called Next Stop Negros Tours, because I want it in the psyche of the people that where's our next stop? Where are we going next?
Okay.
Dapat Negros.
Dapat Negros.
And then also, for Negros, most people associate Negros with a lot of eating because we have great food.
Right.
But after eating so much, and then panumdum mo, what's there to do next?
Okay.
So I came up with an idea that I wanted destinations or things to do in Negros nga activity-based. And so my company really deals with activities where you're up on your feet. That we have tours for we have biking trips around Alangilan and Granada, ecotourism in Danugan Island, hacienda lunches and treks sa waterfalls, and also diving in Sipalay.
Okay, so actually we'll get to know more about this adventure destinations, no, ginahambal ni Imelda in our upcoming editions of Jobs on TV. But before we jump to Betsy, I just want to have one more question, no, parte sa imo. Ang feeling ko is when you are a stewardess, in a way, though similar man siya as a tour guide. You have to be personable, you mentioned, you have to be professional, you have to be flexible, and I believe it has not been really a major shift on your part.
No, and also before that, I was also working in the hotel.
Okay.
So I think siguro my jobs or my personality it's really for the tourism sector, and it's something that I really enjoy doing. And I think with my background, I feel that I know what a tourist or a guest wants. I can foresee what he might need, and I feel that I can coordinate and put it together so that it's easy for them to come when they come here. They can have a good time.
So in short, I like to say this. Now, the four of you are into the people business. No, so I'm just happy to realize that during our first edition, we talked about products. Iyan ni Vito. No,
Right.
masks,
Mm,
lamps,
masks.
and the furnitures. And now we're into the service industry, which is tour guiding. And hopefully, in the coming episodes of Jobs on TV, will feature about spa, health and wellness, and then eventually I'll also go into pasalubong. No, I have invited Mr. Jonathan Law of Mercy, and kung ano-ano pa da nga mga topics. So we'll jump from services to manufacturing products and then services and products again, no? Now we asked Betsy. Si Betsy naman niya, I know she's into the media, and ano ya ang imo, what pushed you into professionalizing your career as a tour guiding person? And sa imo ko na lang ipamangkot, no? Is there really a career in tour guiding?
Okay, which do you want me to answer first?
Well, you
the
can integrate
second.
your answer.
Okay, I'd rather do the second question. I cannot really say that our tourism industry is booming in the same way that Cebu's and Bohol's are. Okay, so it's too early to say that we will really have a solid career in tour guiding, but we're getting there, no? Because there are many promotions on Negros, and a lot of Filipinos and foreigners have really come to enjoy our province, and I've heard it from other people. So there. For the first question is how. Okay, how did I- yeah.
how did you become interested in
Yeah,
tour
okay.
guiding?
Being a lifestyle writer,
Yes,
it
right.
just comes naturally.
Mhm.
For a lifestyle writer, you really have to cover a lot of topics, and it's really into tourism that I found such a comprehensive way of knowing the lifestyle of Negros as a whole. Well, we're into traveling, of course, primarily, and with traveling comes food. And in fact, I have formed my group, which is the 3 plus 1, who is Ruth Cruz. I call it my Team Tikim, where we would,
Oh, okay.
Team Tikim, where we would go to restaurants, and initially it was hotels, with the restaurants trying to shatter that image that hotels are expensive or it's not the place to hang out. We could just walk in and order food a la carte. So there, in a way, I promote the cuisine of Negros and write about these restaurants. Also, of course, since you said we deal with people, then also as a writer, I talk about or write about events, the people that you meet, and I would also interview some personalities once in a while.
So very related.
Very, very much related.
Okay. You know, off-cam, I told this for guys, na siling ko, I sell ideas. And, you know, you can look back to this day if I say this, no, and it happens. There's really ang punto ko is, when you talk of tourism, ang isa sa pinakadako na ding attraction is really food.
Food.
Somebody just, you know, concentrates on
Food.
developing our food industry, putting it on the web, letting people know that they can go here one day in a year to just eat for free whatever they wanna eat here in Bacolod, especially ang atong delicacies and specialties. You wanna add?
Yeah, I want to add because I had former clients from, I think they were from Bulacan. A first batch arrived in Bacolod, and then I toured them around Negros, and then of course they went back to Bulacan. They spread the word, and then the daughter, the son-in-law, the mother-in-law of the daughter came over, and then asked me where I could recommend them to go. At the end of their trip, I'm really happy to say that they were more than satisfied, and their sentiments were like, ang sarap mag-food trip daw sa Negros.
Yeah, it's becoming to be the tagline, no, of Negros and Bacolod, ang aton nga food, no. We go to Maricar. She's into organizing seminars and trainings, and now becoming a tour guide, an official tour guide is another feather in her cap, no? Why the additional career? Yeah.
Well, I must admit that I have now, this is now at this point in my life wherein I want to do something that I want to do. So that means it's not work.
You
It
want to
could-
travel?
Yes. Well, organizing first because I had been inspired I don't know if inspired is the word, by the emails that I get inviting me to seminars which are conducted in Bacolod, and these are usually priced high, which is very difficult for us here in the province to attend. So we are always late, let's say, in the trainings and other informations that are available in Bacolod, in Manila, or maybe in Cebu, but not in Bacolod. So I thought, why not organize a seminar, bring the speaker here, and open it to the public? So that's what I put up, the Jovel Media events last year. So if you have received my emails, please don't regard it as spam. Please open it and see if there is a need in you, or if not, please refer it to the one who needs it. Mostly these are business seminars, marketing and management, and maybe in-house trainings that can be conducted.
Okay.
Since I cannot do the seminars, I mean, there would be lean season for the seminars, then I can always do tour guiding or tour coordination.
Okay.
Thus, I also have I have put up Viaje Negrense, which can be a tour coordination. And this is to promote Bacolod and Negros. This is still inbound tourists, not outbound, because we always travel and I don't want to mention other provinces or
Okay.
other places because I just want to promote Bacolod and Negros. When we travel, we learn about things of what their best practices are, and maybe those things that we learn, we practice it here. It's high time that we really promote Bacolod and Negros so that the students, the graduates will have employment, and well, money will be in circulation, and that will also help our economy, and maybe by that time put our province in the Philippine Global Tourism Map.
Okay. From my research and diagnosis, as a seller of ideas, there's something I also would like to share with you, Ms. Maricar. One of the things probably na wala natin na di parahan when it comes to tourism is the promotion of local tourism. In other words, we always look at tourists as somebody who's outside of Negros or Bacolod. Pero kung lang tawag mo, we have 2.5 million Negrenses and even more in the whole of Negros Occidental. If somebody here tells me he wants to develop a theme park in Negros Occidental, in Bacolod, and they want to apply for an economic zone status wherein they will enjoy 6 to 4 years income tax holiday for whatever they spend on this theme park, I'd be willing to help you. Because we're not only looking at tourists from outside of Bacolod and Negros, we're also looking at visitors from Hinubaan, from Sipalay,
Local.
from Bago, coming to Bacolod. Now, 15 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken, being in the advertising industry, not only national but I've heard multinational in the advertising circle, and now siling niya, he is a retired advertising person, but he is also very active into PR work. So tell us more, what's the connection naman niya sa PR, advertising and tour guiding?
The leap.
Bambi.
Well, I tell my friends in Manila when I visit, and they ask me, is it true that you are now a professional tour guide in Bacolod? And I said,
News
yes,
kita.
I am, believe it or not. But how did you get into that? And I said, well, I am, I think, to borrow the name of a movie, I'm an accidental tour guide. I got into tour guiding, not by design, but just by so happened that I met up with Ruth Cruz. She asked me for help. We put together the first course. I called on my friends in the media to help push the module, the course, and because of that, I attended the course. What I'd like to point out is the fact that my former job as advertising was actually, there was some commonality, in advertising. I was selling without mentioning it, a very well-known brand of energy, chocolate energy drink for children.
Okay.
And having pushed that product for the past 20 years of my professional life, it is really no different than going home to Bacolod, studying Bacolod as a product, Negros, and selling it to people who come here. However, there is now an opportunity for me to give it a personal touch. So this is what I told you earlier. I think of tour guiding really as, you know, selling. I want to share with the guests who call on me, or the tourists who are booked for the tours where I am called in to guide. It is a challenge for me to make them see Bacolod or Negros or wherever we go in a different light. And when I do that, I am actually selling. I am selling them Silay. I am selling them the history of Silay. I am selling them the story of Bago and how a general marched towards Negros with what looked like cannons but turned out to be a makan. And so while I do that, I also look back at my past and I try to look at little stories that are relevant to what I'm doing. And this whole falls together, and I'm saying it's a very good, I tell my friends in Manila that I am having my cake and I can enjoy it too. I'm retired, I get to travel, I get to move around a lot, and well, at the end of the day, I also get paid for it.
Yes, okay.
Not excluding the tips, euros, dollars, or
Right.
Chinese yuan.
Okay, okay. You know, I'm hesitant to mention this skill, no, nga na-develop ko as I was listening to Bambi, because he is a seasoned advertising person. But ang nagasulod sa ulo ko is, let Negros energize you. Kasi sila niya energy drink, chocolate energy drink. So,
That would make a good slogan.
yeah, with Next Stop, with Team Tikim, with Viaje Negros and Jovial Media, I think Negros will surely energize you if you come to Bacolod, no, and Negros Occidental. We have here 2 questions. We call this the hot seat questions for our guests for today. One is, how do you deal with clients who ask about the other kind of, you know, nightlife in Bacolod? Amo nang problema. Well, of course, I am a woman and child rights advocate. Now, I am against child trafficking. So, medyo no, but it cannot be denied that in other cities and even in other countries,
Yes,
no, though
that's
gina-promote
really-
nila mga
it's
red
part.
light districts
light
nila, no.
districts,
So, in your
Thailand.
case, how would you handle that?
Well, the 3 ladies here, I'm sure, may not have had experienced or may not have had time to deal with that kind of client. I had, because I think being a male, after the tour, our male clients, especially the foreigners, would some of them would start, sometimes a hint, sometimes just outright brutally ask a question. So what's to do here after dinner?
Okay.
And the way I would handle that is, of course, in a very nice and diplomatic way. I would tell them, I said, well, there are places you can go if you want to drink. There are certain bars. I'd like to point them out to some of the new places, the night places here that have opened and are very wholesome and good.
Right.
And if they like to go beyond the wholesome, I would tell them, I'm sorry, I'm not too familiar with that. Because a reality here is, I have realized, because I have asked this later on, having declined to take them out on a night tour, some of my clients who booked on the day tour actually turned to the taxi driver outside their hotels. And that's a reality. And the taxi drivers, of course, looked at it as an opportunity to be maybe another tour guide in the evening, and then probably earn extra money.
What can you say about developing a night tour in Bacolod? A wholesome night tour.
Oh,
Like, for
there-
example, in Singapore, you have the night market.
Yes,
No?
the night market. Yes, I think that's a very good idea. First of all, we compared, let's say, to Iloilo. Some of our clients, some of my clients who came from Boracay, had a chance to compare the nightlife in Iloilo and the nightlife in Bacolod, and they thought that Bacolod nightlife was a little more, a lot more oomph to
Livelier.
it. Yes, I mean, I have to say that. That's the feedback that I got. And we have places to eat, places to drink, and new places are coming up. I think we can even do a 3-hour. I've done it actually before. I did a night tour because the client came in very late from Dumaguete, and they were leaving for Iloilo again the following week to go to Boracay. So I was booked by the hotel to do a night tour for them, and they enjoyed it. I just brought them to the new places. We had dinner at a restaurant that serves native dishes. Then we brought them. We had coffee. We brought them to our. I showed them how Negrenses like sweets. So I brought them to 3 cake houses. Can I mention that?
Okay. A cake house tour.
Yeah, cake house tours. Sweets.
Okay.
I brought them to one cake house which is quite well known already, even in Manila,
Okay.
and 2 others, and they enjoyed it.
Okay. So we'll pause for a break now. For the last segment, we'll talk about in general terms now what are the available jobs in tourism. Stay tuned. Jobs on TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Jobs on TV. Unfortunately, we just have a few minutes left, no? You know, time flies so fast when you're having so much fun conversing about, things that you'd like to share with the people of Bacolod. So that's Jobs on TV is all about, no? So now for the last portion, I just would like to ask, what are the things that you have on your wish list? When I say wish list, anong gusto nyo makita? As accredited tour guides, now what do you want to see in terms of the stakeholders that are very vital in promoting tourism in Negros and Bacolod? And is there such a thing as jobs on tourism? Or is there a multiplier effect? One tourist, how many jobs would it create? What are the other things that they'd bring to Bacolod? Maricar.
First of all, when a tourist comes in, when they land at the airport, they take the services of our transport services that are available. It could either be the shuttle bus or the taxi cab or the jeepneys or the tricycles or whatever mode of transportation that they would want. Then they would check in at their local hotel, and that would mean already hotels. Hotels, they eat. Income
Right.
for the hotels. They eat at our restaurants. They go to we always bring them to the Negros showroom, wherein they can find all the indigenous products made in Negros, and they should spend their money here. We don't bring them to other department stores. We
Okay.
bring them to their own, so that there would be the products would be, they bring our products to wherever places they are in the Philippines or in the world, and that would mean money for our producers to boost economy in Negros.
Okay. Let's see, wish list, what do you want to see happen aside from the tour guide side? Sa iba naman yung sector.
I guess we should really improve cleanliness in the city.
Okay.
I was embarrassed one time because I proudly announced to my client, we were the cleanest and greenest, highly urbanized city in the Philippines. And
Ouch.
well, ouch,
Okay.
Gid. But she wasn't impressed
Yes.
because she has seen better.
Yes.
That's why I had to defend myself and said, used to be gani. Kay amo lang na no, I really want us to have a higher standard. We think bala international na, hindi nga do ka local nga. Kung may sagbot da okay na. Kung do ka baho diri kay the males make every post that they see comfort room Tani, we will stop that one, and then no spitting. I think it really boils down to discipline and values, gid. And of course, dala na ang aton tani nga mga public toilets where people could just be comfortable naman to relieve themselves. So it should be very tourist friendly. Kaya nga ana-anad na tayo sa mga pangsut, how? Doon mo lang ng question ko. Tani, we should,
Tani
do okay na lang. Na daw.
Hindi na smelly city.
Oo, Tani.
Okay, thank you. Quickly, ilonggohon ko nino. When I was in Singapore, I heard that an American, no, ilonggohon ko ni, kaya para maintindihan nila, sa Amerikano sa Singapore got 20 lashings. No? Ang lashing ganyan, this is very painful ko, no? Lashing, public lashing for throwing a cigarette butt. No? In Ilonggo, ginaboy niya upos sang sigarilyo. Kay sa Singapore, wala police pero puno sang camera all over the place. So, in a matter of seconds, he was apprehended, and it was a international controversy because it was an American national, so nagreklamo ang Amerika, but, they went ahead with the penalty. Well, we're not saying ilashing tadi or ilatigohon tadi, no, in Ilonggo sa Bacolod, but, we have to start disciplining ourselves somewhere, somehow. Okay? Imelda, wish list?
For my wish list, I think it's really more communication. In the sense that if there's more like kiosks where visitors, whether local or foreign, can get information on transportation, hotel, tour guides, or tours. Okay, like when they're walking around and they want to get information, though they're lost, where will they go? If ever they have to go all the way sa Capitol or all the way, it's very difficult. It's not practical. And maybe in some key sections where a lot of tourists go, there's a lot of information. There's always somebody there to answer questions.
And signs, no? Road
And
signs.
signs, yes.
Right, okay. Thank you. Bambi? Ang standards?
Actually, the ladies have already preempted all the things that I have to say, which leaves me almost with nothing to say. The only thing I'd like to add, I think, is I wish we could really create that feeling or that culture of hospitality. We are already hospitable.
Right.
The Ilonggos are notorious for being extraordinarily hospitable. We
Right.
overfeed our guests. Our guests, when they go home to wherever they come from, complain that kadamo siyang ilangan ginpakaon sa inyo. So I think that the feeling is there, the culture is there. To that, I would just like to maybe professionalize it a bit so that, for instance, when we the element of time, we have to learn to be more prompt. When our guests are said that they have to go fix an appointment with somebody outside of the hotel, they expect this person to be there, because I've had occasion where I had to bring a guest to an appointment, and unfortunately the person they wanted to see, although it was said 2 o'clock in the afternoon, wala pa dito. So it's the Europeans who were Europeans at the time were a little bit dismayed that we had to wait.
Okay.
So that feeling of professionalism.
Okay. Rest assured that there's going to be a part 2 of this discussions. Now, quickly, si Maricar, speaking of time, we're already over time. You have an announcement to make? Okay.
Well, I would like to plug this seminar. This will be on August 2 and 3. This is a marketing and management seminar, results-driven strategic marketing management and going beyond expectations in these challenging times. The speaker is Ricky De Vera. He is the chairman emeritus of PMA, Philippine Marketing Association. And this is recommended for entrepreneurs, for office managers, and for anyone who would like to have positive results in their business.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's August 3, no? So thank you, Gid, Miss Maricar, Sir Bambi, Borromeo, Miss Betsy Gaso, and Miss Imelda Tinsay. Rest assured that we'll have part 2 on adventure tourism with Miss Imelda Tinsay. She'll give us more information about biking, mountain climbing as tourism in the next episode
And just in case you can't wait until the next episode, you can take a look at our Facebook page or website. It's www.nextstopnegrostours.
Okay,
And then we'll
next stop.
see you in the next. Yes.
Negros.
Next
Okay.
stop, Negros.
Very easy to remember, no? So, we're also going to have a part 2 on jobs in advertising PR work, no? With Mr. Bambi Borromeo and who else, no? Nga pwede natin ma-invite on the topic jobs in advertising and public relations. Thank you for joining us on Jobs on TV. Stay tuned next week. We'll talk more about available jobs, this time in the health and wellness industry. I'm your host, Attorney Jocelle Batapa Sigue. Until next week, only here on Sunshine Channel 14.